So Justin, can we kind of talk a little bit about your funding? How are you getting funded? How do you feel about money in politics, and anything that you would like to add to that?
Sure. Well, I'll answer the second question first. How I feel about money in politics is there's too much of it. And when I'm elected, if and when I'm elected, I would definitely be in favor and a champion of campaign finance reform. I think anything we can do to get money and dark money out of politics is something we should do. I actually think there's support for that on both sides of the aisle. As far as my campaign raising, this is a very grassroots effort. I'm not getting any corporate money. There's no corporate PACs behind me. This is all, small dollar donations, people who care. And I think that's the way it should be. So that's the way we're going to do things. And I'm hopeful that we can show that you can win an election this way.
So considering that this is very grassroots effort, do you actually have any support from the Democratic Party or anything like that from a big establishment party?
Our support from the party is emotional and spiritual at this point. We haven't been getting any financial support. In their defense, there are a lot of races being run.
Right.
And so with limited resources, they need to focus on the ones that they consider flippable. And I'm hopeful that if we can show them that this is one of those districts, ultimately we may get some support. But no, right now there's no party donations coming in. This is simply a people supported effort. And, while I would love to sit here and say, send us your money, Democrats, I think that we're pretty realistic about the expectations that we have for party support. We got to earn it, and we plan to.
So Justin, how would you, when you get elected, how would you actually put this into action as far as a bill or anything like that, as far as getting the money out of politics? Would you actually put something on the table, even though it may not get voted upon, or would you just kind of delay that?
So my answer to your question is, am I sitting on a campaign finance reform bill? No, I'm not. But there are things out there, reversing Citizens United is obviously a big one. Combating voter suppression everywhere we can is obviously a big one. And there's a lot to be done. I think there are things like, representatives not making money off of stocks that benefit from their decisions. There's just a ton of things. There's actually an anti-corruption act that passed in Tallahassee that I think is a great model. And there are people, I think it's called represent.us. They have a lot of really good ideas. Ben and Jerry are involved in some initiatives. So there's a lot of good ideas out there about what we can do. I think there's support for it on both sides of the aisle. It's something that resonates even with conservatives when I'm along the trail. Everybody wants to see money out of politics. One thing that I've been told by people who have been through this before, which I haven't, is spend 90% of your time raising money and 10% of your time meeting people. I think that's ridiculous. That's not the way that a political race should be run, and we need to change that, because what ends up happening is when you get in office, you're still listening to the people who kept you there, and a lot of representatives think that their job is to get reelected. So that's topsy-turvy. I think that's where this system is on its head, and all roads lead back to that. So I'm glad you asked about it first. And I wish I had a more specific answer for you, like I'm sitting on regulations or a bill, but I think there's a lot of models to be followed, and I absolutely would put a lot of energy into it.